Okay, good day everyone. We will discuss with you the rules and regulations on the transport of live animals by land. If you will notice, we will be referring only the transport of live animals by land because you can transport animals also by air and by sea. Uh, Majority of our transport of animals are being transported through by land, mostly by land. The only difference is the mode of transportation, but basically the documentary requirements are the same. So we'll be focusing on the transportation by land. This is covered by Administrative Order number 19, issued by the Department of Agriculture, series of 2016. So what is the basic policy in the issuance of these uh, guidelines? To ensure the basic freedom of animals. Actually, this is the what we call the welfare of animals. So if we will notice, this basic freedom of animals pertains to the welfare or taking care of animals. So treating them as if they are humans. So most likely some of you have undergone already the lecture on animal welfare program. So the animal welfare program is basically contained in these five basic freedom. Number one, that the animals has the freedom, has the right, the freedom from thirst, hunger, and malnutrition. So they need to be fed well at least twice a day, and they need to have at least water. It is recommended that they will have access 24 hours a day for water. Second, physical discomfort and pain. So avoid uh, imposing physical discomfort and pain against animals because they are like humans. Treat them as if they are humans so that you can avoid physical discomfort and pain towards them. Third is freedom from injury and disease. So if they get sick, it is our obligation if if we are caretakers of animals to bring them into a medical intervention. Fourth is to conform to behavior pattern. Like as humans, they also have behavioral patterns that must be addressed to maintain their welfare as animals. Okay. Number five is freedom from fear and distress. So that's why it is discouraged that they should be treated well to discourage fear and distress. So totally despite basic freedom of animals pertaining to the welfare of animals is a way of treating them as if animals are humans. Okay. Now, we will be discussing with you a basic outline. First, we will be treating the basic responsibilities of the handlers. Second, the carriers. And the third, the operators of the carriers. And what are the basic mandates during transport. So that is the basic outline. So first, we will treat the basic responsibility of the animal handlers, referred to as the owners, the managers, and subcontractors of animals for transport. So, number one is they must bear in mind and consider always the general health of animals, which is the fitness for the journey and their welfare. Make sure always that the animals due for transport must be healthy, not only in appearance, but basically the animals are really healthy. Second, before transport, there must be compliance to certain regulatory requirements like veterinary health certificates, the other documentary requirements for transport. If you're a handler, you must present your handler's license, and then the transport carrier accreditation, the vehicle to be used for transportation of the animals, and the securing of the shipping permit before you ship or transport the animals. Third, during the transport, make sure that there is one animal caretaker, at least one handler who is competent enough for the species or the kind of animals to be transported during the transport. So the responsibility of the animal caretaker is to take care of the proper equipment needed. So he will prepare the equipment needed. If it is a large animal, it requires certain equipments to be accompanying during the transport. And the animal caretaker who will go with the animals during the travel must be well equipped of the five basic freedom of animals which we have mentioned a while ago, which is the humane handling and care of animals before, during, and after the transport. So referring to the loading, the unloading, the transport, and the unloading of the animals. Okay. Now, we come to the responsibility of the carrier. The carrier is being referred to here is the one who will be actually transporting the animal using an appropriate vehicle. So what are his basic responsibility? Number one, choose the appropriate vehicle. If it is a large animal, it requires a large vehicle appropriate to the kind of animal for transport. If it is a small animal, it must be appropriate to the kind of small animals to be transported. Second, ensure having a trained staff. So take note of this, a trained staff, not just anybody that you can tag along that has no training or knowledge of how to treat an animal. So make sure that the staff that will go with you during the transport must be knowledgeable and trained in the loading, unloading, and the caring of animals, and developing and keeping up-to-date contingency plan to address emergencies and minimize stress to animals. And there must be a journey plan. Later we will discuss the content of the journey plan. Okay. In short, the loading plan, the journey duration, the location of resting place during the travel, especially if the travel will take a long period of time like 10 to 12 hours. Okay. Now, the responsibility of the drivers of the transport carriers. So the basic responsibility of the driver is to make sure that the vehicle must be roadworthy so that it will be safe during the travel, the actual travel. So that is his basic responsibility. And he must be well equipped for necessary compliance to traffic rules and regulations. So make sure that you hire not just drivers, but drivers who know safety and roadworthiness of vehicle and knows how to comply to traffic rules and regulations. Now, the owners and operators of animal facilities. This one refers to the one that you will be sourcing out your animals, and the owners and operators of animal facilities that will be a place of destination of the animals, like stockyard or other farms that will be the point of destination of animals. So, what are the responsibilities? First is provide suitable premises. So, proper to the kind of animals for destined animals. So, second, appropriate facilities for loading, unloading, and securely holding the animals. Okay. Third is appropriate facilities for water and feeds. So before, during, and after. Okay. Animals must be provided always with water and food. Okay. Number four, facilities for disinfecting vehicles before and after unloading. Disinfecting is a necessary tool or ingredient in maintaining healthy animals. So this is for the sake of a clean and quality animals for the sake of the consumers. Okay. Now the obligations of the inspectors and concerned authorities referring to the Department of Agriculture, the Bureau of Animal Industry who are manning the checkpoints whereby all transport of animals pass through for purposes of inspection. So the basic obligation is for the inspection of animals before, during, and after travel. So there must be always this inspection before, during, and after to make sure that all animals that has to be transported and specifically intended for slaughter must all be healthy and quality animals. So these are necessary quality control measures. Second, the issuance of appropriate certifications. So the Department of Agriculture through the BAI and in regional office through the regulatory division issues certain documents necessary to accompany the legal transport of animals like handler certification, accreditation of transport carriers, and the issuance of the shipping permit by the quarantine office. And then, of course, records keeping. Okay. Now, what are the mandates and considerations during transport travel? So, these are the necessary practices or protocols that must be followed or maintained. The loading and unloading. So, if the animals to be transported, specifically if it refers to large cattle, there must always be a ramp and gangway for animals to load and after travel for them for easy unloading. Okay. Second, no use of mechanical means. Why? Because we have the animal welfare program. Remember, no injury, no fear or distress to animals. Okay. Second, no lifting or dragging like pulling the head, the legs, the nose, the eyes, or any part of the body of the animals for purposes of loading or unloading. Treat them as if they are humans. If you can talk to them, you tell them, okay, you can go down now, or you can go up to the vehicle. Number 4, there must be halters for cattle, carabaos, and horses. So, if you will notice, these are large cattle. If you are transporting large cattle, there must be halters. The purpose of the halters is to avoid stumbling during transport. Okay. For small animals, what is needed are leashes, especially for dogs. So similar kinds of animals, cages for cats, poultry, and ducks, and ropes for goats and sheep. So these are the necessary tools that should accompany during transport. Okay. Number 5, no animal shall be made to jump from the transport vehicle. That's why ramp are required for the loading and the unloading, except if you are transporting dogs. You can allow the dogs to jump over from the vehicle after transport. Okay, anyway, dogs are small animals. They can jump without injuring themselves. Okay, next is protecting animals from extreme hot or cold conditions. The basic idea of this is it is recommended the transport of animals should be done during cold condition or preferably during night time so that the weather will be very favorable to animals. It is a cool weather during night time. So it is discouraged to transport animals during daytime, especially in the splintering heat of the sun during daytime. So, when there are necessary stops, there must be indicated where to stop the vehicle for some short duration rest period which must be marked or included in the journey plan, which we will discuss later. So the urine and feces shall be removed from floors and disposed of properly. So this is for purposes of hygiene and sanitation, which is a requirement in the animal welfare program. So always remember that animals should be treated as if they are humans. So they need hygiene and sanitation. Okay. Next is the unloading and post-journey handling. So unload into appropriate facilities immediately upon arrival to avoid further stress to animals. So, and there must be enough time or sufficient time for the unloading. So there must be proper care of animals during the unloading, because bear in mind, during the transport, most likely animals have already undergone certain stress. So there must be proper care during the unloading of the animals. So it must be proceeded quietly and without unnecessary noise, harassment, or force. So this is an expression of the proper care of animals, specifically immediately after the transport. So take care of their condition, so that specifically if they are for slaughter, they must be well conditioned before slaughter so that you can have a fair return of your investment. There will be quality meat if the animals to be slaughtered are not harassed. Okay. Transport carriers, cages, containers, and crates shall be thoroughly cleaned. So this is for purposes of hygiene and sanitation, like removal of manure. So disinfection immediately after use. The disinfection is required before use and immediately after the use of the carrier for the next transport. So disinfection before reuse. So animals, small animals like goats, sheep, and pigs shall be unloaded using ramp at an incline of not more than 30 degrees with floor grids, or can be carried one by one from the vehicle to the ground because they are small animals. So bear this in mind. The next requirement is no animal shall be unloaded by throwing from vehicle to the ground. Otherwise, you will be causing injury or stress to animals, which is against the 5 basic freedom of animals as required under the Animal Welfare Program. So no animal shall be thrown about for unloading. Okay. Now, the journey plan. This is a basic requirement. This must be a specific document. So this means this must be in writing. So what is the content of the journey plan? You must indicate in your journey plan the point of unloading. So this is the point of destination where you will unload the animals. And then indicate the municipalities to be traversed during the actual travel. Specifically, if the travel you will be engaging is a long travel, like for example, from Bicol going to Manila, or Manila going to Bicol or other far areas for the transport of animals. And then you must include in the journey plan the appropriate journey diet and sufficient water for animals. So remember the 5 basic freedom. The number 1 requirement is food and water. So there must be sufficient water and food, specifically if you will engage in a long travel. The maximum continuous travel time shall be 12 hours. If you will calculate that your travel will be more than 12 hours, make sure that before the 12th hour, you make a stopover or rest before recontinuing your travel or transport of animals. Okay. Now, the vehicle and container design and maintenance. So basically, it must be an appropriate vehicle for the kind of animals. The vehicle must be properly equipped with proper communications. So necessarily, the driver or the caretaker, the one that will accompany the travel, so the driver, the one caretaker as required, they must have at least a mobile phone so that at least you can reach them or contact them at any time, at any point during actual travel. At least the mobile phone must have at least 30-minute load and sufficiently charged so that you can reach them at any time. Okay. Constructed and fitted as appropriate to the species, the size, the weight of the animal. So make sure that the kind of vehicles to be used for transport must ensure that animals will not incur injury. Okay, by means of securing smooth fitting, free from sharp protrusions. So, and the vehicles must be equipped with basic first aid kit. The first aid kit refers to the first aid kit to the driver and the caretaker, and the first aid kit also another first aid kit for the animals in cases of injury or accidents. Okay. The vehicle and container design must be for the protection of the animals, especially against bad weather condition or adverse weather condition, and to minimize opportunity for animals to escape. So there must be always be thorough cleaning, disinfection before and after to minimize the spread of pathogenic agents, especially the spread of ASF nowadays. So the feces or urine. So basically, it must be clean always before, during, and after. And the vehicles necessarily must be in good mechanical and structural condition so that there will always be a continuous travel without hamper. Okay. So if necessary, there must be suitable bedding added to vehicle floor to avoid scattering of waste of animals during transport, like absorption of the urine to minimize sleeping of animals and to protect the young animals from hard flooring. Okay. Now, the last requirement is the vehicle must have a sticker that will reflect the word live animals. It must be properly designed with the necessary measurement. Live animals like 2.5 width by 26 length if referring to small vehicle, and 5 by 52 if referring to vans and trucks. So where should this reflectorized sticker or label be placed? It should be placed on top and on both sides. So on top and both sides of the vehicle. So the letter live animals must be in black letters. Okay. The background must be it must be in a white background. Okay. And there must be a red border. So just imagine, the letter must be in black letters. The background is white and with red border. So in case of dog and cats, stickers should be placed in the rear windshield because it is a small animal using small vehicle. Okay, so that's all. Thank you for listening.